Did it go?
I think that's fine.
Let me try and share my screen.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. I think there's still a few people coming in, but I think we're at 2 now, so we can get going. So yeah, thanks everyone again for joining us today, and welcome to the Lancaster West Sustainability Series. So this is the first one of these that we've done in quite a while. So some of you will have been to them before when we were doing them, but for lots of you it'll probably be new. But yes, so for those of you that haven't been to one of these before, they are sessions that we were doing monthly, and we're gonna bring back regularly, not necessarily monthly. The purpose of them is to boost awareness, knowledge, and kind of interest in key topics around sustainability. So they're aimed at both residents of Lanc West and wider Kensington and Chelsea, staff at RBKC, and then also other organisations that we're working with. So yeah, great to see lots of you in the call today. We also record it, put it on our website and YouTube for anyone that can't make it to watch back as well. So please feel free to send on the invites to anyone else you know that might be interested, or send over the link and slides, which we'll send around after the session. So yeah, just to give a bit of context, I think as most of you will know, the council has a commitment to become net zero carbon by 2030 as an organisation, and then for the borough to become net zero carbon by 2040. So those are the kind of really key goals that the council's working towards in terms of like tackling climate change, and that's in addition to broader goals around kind of air quality, biodiversity, lot of waste, lots of other areas. And we all obviously have a role in helping to achieve these aims. So today's topic is really relevant to the aims around reducing carbon emissions, because we have Helen, who you can see from Giki, who's going to be talking to us about individual carbon footprints and some ways that we can all reduce our own. And then she'll be talking a bit about Giki, which some of you would have used, but it's a really useful platform that helps you to get that understanding of your carbon footprint and helps you to track things that you're doing in order to reduce it and make improvements and give tips for that. So yeah, just in terms of agenda for today, in a second I'll pass over to Helen, who's going to be running through really interesting presentation that hopefully everyone find really useful, and then we'll have lots of time at the end for any questions or comments that everybody has. So feel free, if you do have any questions, like while Helen's speaking, feel free to put it in the chat and I can read it out at the end. Or if you want to just wait until the end and then pop your hand up, come on camera and come on mic, then yeah, that's fine. Hopefully we'll be able to get in a good discussion, and then we'll be finishing today by 3. And yeah, just heads up that we're recording the session, so hopefully that's okay with everyone. But yeah, for whatever reason you don't want to come on camera or anything to that, just so that everyone's aware. And yeah, as I said, we'll be popping it on our YouTube and website after, so if you do miss any, then we'll share the link for that so you can watch it back. So yeah, I think that's enough from me. So Helen, I'll pass over to you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, and thank you so much for having me today. I will just share some slides on here, and then hopefully you can see those now. Is that coming up?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, you can see them. I can't see that you can see them, but I'll I'll believe that you can see them. Okay, so just shout out if they start to disappear at all, because I can't see what you can see. It's just the slides you can see, yeah? Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, so here to talk to you about your own individual impact, to give you a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the Giki account, which is an area that will help you to be able to keep track of what you're doing for the planet and how that impacts your carbon footprint. and to talk to you a little bit more about kind of the science behind it as well, and give you some tips if you are at the stage of wanting to start cutting your carbon footprint. Then got some great tips to get you started on that. So I need to get on this one. Okay, so Giki. So Giki actually does stand for something. It stands for Get Informed, Know Your Impact. We're a B Corp and a social enterprise, and we our mission is to empower people with the knowledge and tools to reduce their impact on the planet. So I thought I would just get started with a couple of reasons of why we're here. So why are we here? There is a climate crisis. You all know that. We're all seeing the evidence of it, and we've all seen the science behind it, hopefully. Your borough wants to do more. So, you know, we've been working with your borough for, I think, around a year now, you know, and we know about your kind of net zero commitment. So, yeah, very much wants to do more and to support you guys to do more. And what you do really does matter. So it can often feel like, what change can I make as a person, as an individual? But I'm here to show you that what you do really does matter. So we can start with a bit of a quiz question. So if you can pop into the chat A, B, or C in terms of what percentage of carbon emissions do you think comes from people? So if anyone's up for it, just give me a bit of an answer on that in the chat, then I can start to share. So I can see that coming through. Love A's and B's, another C and B and B's. Yeah, so I can actually share another couple of B's. So lots of B's and lots of C's. Yeah, I can share that actually. It is C, unfortunately. So 70% of emissions come from people, and obviously it depends completely how you cut the cake. So we often, you know, get people saying, "Hang on, what about, you know, what about the oil companies? Obviously everything comes from them, but we are the end users of most products, and as the end users, 70% of emissions come from us in terms of the, you know, a number of ways that we use those emissions. So I will get into a bit more detail of that as we go along. But emissions need to halve this decade. So this is where we are, where that shoe is right at the top. That is where we are right now. So we obviously emissions need to halve if we are in a chance with keeping global warming below 1.5 degree, which is the point which scientists believe the climate change effects will accelerate beyond anything that we can you know, pull them back to. So every, you know, every 0.1 degrees Celsius really does matter. You know, it really does. So anything that we can do matters. And where the person's running down the hill, that's 2030. So that's where we need to really have halved our emissions. And with us as individuals creating 70% of the or being the end users of 70% of the emissions, what we do really does matter. And because things are going up and not down, we really need to get cracking. And obviously you know, we definitely need change from government, we need change from industry, we need change from businesses. Everybody needs to be doing it together. We're no longer at the point where we can say, oh, we'll rely on governments to solve it, or we'll rely on individuals. You know, we all need to really work together. And the House of Lords Committee's most recent paper did actually say that behaviour change across the whole population is essential for us to hit net zero and reduce environmental harm. So we really do need to, we really do matter, is my point, really. And so we're just going to go on to a little bit around our lifestyles and how that makes up our carbon footprint. But I just wanted to, I promise, I think this is my last quiz question. I promise it is. So I just thought I'd do a little quiz question. A, B, or C, which do we think is the largest part of our carbon footprint? On average, it's different for everybody, obviously. So maybe just think about your own life and think about which one. So is it food waste? Is it clothing? Or is it our driving? And obviously, if you don't drive, then you wouldn't say driving, but if you think on average what it is. So C's, So mainly driving, food waste, and more driving, more food waste. Food waste again. Yeah, so A's and C's are coming through. The answer is actually it is driving, as transport makes up 25% of our carbon footprint. And as I said, very different for everybody. If you don't have a car and you use public transport more, your transport footprint will be a lot lower than people who live in urban, live in more rural areas and drive to a lot of places. So different for everybody. And that's what I'll kind of come on to now. So this is the average makeup of a carbon footprint of somebody who lives in a wealthy nation, as defined by the World Bank. And the UK is obviously classed as a wealthy nation. Our average carbon footprint is 9 tonnes. So it's always good to kind of know that that's about average when you go into the Giki tool, which I'll show you in a bit, and see what your footprint is. And our footprint's made up of these really main key areas. So our house and how we heat our home, and the size of it, how we insulate it, and how we heat it, and the electricity that we use in there. We've got food, which makes up, around 25% as well. So that's obviously what we eat, what we throw away. So, food waste is a big part of our carbon footprints as well. And also the food that we buy for our pets is also important. Transport, so mainly cars and planes make up that. Obviously, if you're taking public transport a lot, then it's much lower. And then purchases, so the clothes we buy, the appliances, furniture, electricals, mobiles, etc. So that all makes up there. And then services, where we invest our money, etc. So that's the kind of makeup of our carbon footprint. We've done some work with Imperial College London, and we've worked out that in terms of your personal carbon footprint, it can be cut by 75% by making small and then larger changes in our lifestyle and creating that behavioural change. We have got some time to create these behavioural changes, and it's always great to start with things that we know are small changes but that will stick in our life, and really make those make the behavioural change that we need, which I can show you in a little bit. But globally, we need to get down to 2.5 tonnes each. So in the UK, we're an average of 9. By 2030, we really need to be down to 2.5 tonnes. And so with that in mind, we've at Giki, we've created a guide. So it's a free guide that anybody can read. It's 10 ways to cut a tonne. And that's really because it's so different for everybody. Oh, and Ali's just posted that in the chat for us, so thank you. So it's a bit of a read, but it's really it explains a lot of the things that I've kind of touched on today, but also gives you a lot more detail and helps you find your own path on how to cut a tonne. I thought I'd just pull a couple of things out of it today, in different ways that you can cut a tonne from your own life. And the 3 areas I focused on is refuse, reuse, recycle, be the most efficient you, and I'll start with a menu of food steps. So just some ideas, and Ali will post into the chat the links for the food steps if you wanted to have a look at a bit more information. What I'd say is, if you haven't signed up already, use the sign up link to sign up to the Lancaster West account, and then you can click on to take the step. If you sign up without just through the step link, then you won't be connected to the Lancaster West account if you wanted to do that. Or you can just look at the step. You can just do that even if you've not got an account. So starting with the menu of food steps. So reduce food waste. So food waste, as I mentioned before, and as a lot of people recognised in the quiz questions, it makes up food waste makes up a lot of emissions, and food is 25% of our carbon footprint. From farm to fork, food accounts for, including food waste, accounts for 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. So it's a really big one to focus on. And also, as a household, we buy a lot, but we also waste a lot. And the stats that we talk about is that 25% of food waste is purely because we make too much or we buy too much. And so if we took away the food waste of food that is edible that we throw away, it would be around, we could save ourselves around £450 a year in food waste. So that's a really good one to think about when you go around the supermarket hungry, not to buy too much. That's my one that I try not to do, and go with a list. And food waste in landfill is especially bad because it emits methane. So it doesn't take a long time to break down like plastic does. So from that respect, it's not as bad. But when it does break down, it breaks down anaerobically. So it releases methane, which is a more potent gas than CO2. So it really is not a great thing to put into landfill. So reducing our food waste is really, really important. So I don't know what curbside recycling you've got in your local area, but if you've got it, then really do try and use that food waste recycling. Or look into composting. So I don't know if you've got anything locally in terms of a composting area, or whether you could create a community one, is often what people are doing. And just purely cutting back on the on the waste that we've got as well. So we've got a step on that, which hopefully Ali's shared in the chat, and then trying something plant-based. So we all know that if you eat a plant-based diet, it's a lot less carbon and a lot lower on your emissions than eating a fully omnivore diet. So if you just try something plant-based, it's often a really good place to start. So try most places most people start with a milk or something like that, or an alternative to a burger. There's lots of different alternatives out there, or just cut the meat out of a pasta dish or something to try it, or replace meat with lentils. So another step to try is using the microwave more. So this is not for everyone. A lot of people say no, I wouldn't use a microwave to cook things, but actually there's so much that you can cook in a microwave, and it's so much more efficient on your energy bills and on your time, and actually on your washing up, because you can often quite cook it in the thing that you're going to eat it in. So it's win-win-win for me. But also because it heats the actual food rather than heating the area like the oven does, it's a lot more efficient, and that's why you can cook so much quicker. So some interesting food steps to get you started. We've got another kind of 20, I think 30 different food steps on Giki as well. So we could show you those, show you where to find those in a minute. The next one is reduce, refuse and recycle. So there are £10 billion worth of unworn clothes in cupboards in the UK. So 50% of what we buy quite often goes unworn. And there is a saying from Fight Club, which I'll just remember: we buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. So I always try and live with that one. But I personally love sites like Vinted and eBay. I mean, I'm just a little bit obsessed with buying secondhand clothes now, because they're quite often, they've still got the tags on, and you can search really specifically for things that you want. So you can search by brand, by size, by color, by type, for everything. And even for Christmas presents this year, for things that my boys wanted, I would search for exactly what they wanted. And even if it was quite new, I was quite often finding it still with with the labels on. So yeah, really, really worth looking at secondhand sites, and also looking at selling things on the secondhand sites as well, to when you've worn something, or when you have a route in the cupboard and find things that you still got the tags on that you're never going to wear. Um, um, Buying nothing new is quite a tough one. So that's buying no new clothes for 3 months. But actually, once you start getting into the swing of it, you realise how much you don't need new things every time you go out. Swapping with friends, we've got a step for that as well. And as I say, buy a second hand is always a really good one. And then recycling mobile phones. So on average in our houses in the UK, we have 11 devices on average for each household. And you think, oh, 11, I definitely haven't got 11. And then you start to tot up all the different people with all the different devices that you've got, and you quite soon get get near there, or ones that you've just got in the cupboard. So there's so much of the virgin materials that go into mobile phones. So much of that is really precious metal that can be reused again and again and again. So if you've got any old mobile phones, then look into to recycle those. There's lots of places that will take those, and I think on that step actually that we've shared, there's more information in there about where you could recycle your mobile phones. And also not feeling like you need to get the latest mobile phone all the time as well. So just knowing how much carbon goes into creating one mobile phone, you soon realize that actually I don't need it every year. I can wait, 5 or 6 years until I need one. That might be a step too far for some, but you don't want to see my mobile. It's got cracks all over the screen because I refuse to buy a new one. um, so that's reduce, refuse, recycle. Lots more in the guide, as I say. Right. So final one, being more efficient. So sometimes it's as simple as just changing some of the habits that we have to be more efficient, and it's a great path to cutting a ton. Just changing those habits, choosing one step a week, and just nailing it, or doing it for a month, making sure that you've got that, and then you go move on to the next step. So some of these are some of our most popular steps and some of the easiest ones to get started with. So just boiling the amount of water that you need each time you boil the kettle. The kettle takes up quite a lot of energy, more than actually to boil the water on Christmas morning while you're cooking your turkey takes more. To boil a full kettle today takes more energy than cooking your Christmas turkey, which I find absolutely crazy. So that's how much energy a kettle uses when it boils a whole thing of water. So just boiling the water that you need for that 1 cup of tea really does make a difference. Turning things off standby. So quite often we just leave things on, chargers plugged in and on, all around the house. Television's on overnight. It can really make a difference to your energy bills and to your and to the amount that you're emitting if you switch those off. And then also turning the lights off. I quite often say, just to my boys, just imagine there's a polar bear giving you a high five every time you turn that light off, and it does help them to switch the lights off around the house. So just switching those off as well really can make a difference. So I think I have, yes, so let's Geeky. So I was going to show you the site now, if that is okay. If there's any questions that have come up while I've been talking, then I'm happy to answer those now, or I can jump straight into the site and give you a little tour. Oh, I've been logged out now, so I just need to log back in. You happy for me to just jump onto yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead on that.
Brilliant. Okay. So if you haven't joined already, if you use the link, which I think Ali can can throw into the chat, that's your own unique link to join the Lancaster West account, where you will be able to see what your community is doing and your organisation is doing, as well as what you're doing as an individual. So you will just need to answer 7 or 8 questions around your lifestyle. So the country that you live in, the kind of house that you live in, the car that you drive, etc. And then you will land on here where you'll be able to see what your carbon footprint looks like versus the rest of the country, and also the steps that you're trying. You'll be able to see your Giki score, which is your score that's really helps you to have that bit of healthy competition in the community as well. So that's made up of your carbon footprint and then any action you're taking to improve that carbon footprint. And then you can also see our latest campaign that's in there. So at the moment, it's cut a ton by being more efficient, which is what I was just talking to you about then. So it's quite convenient that we jumped onto that, and with lots more ideas on there as well, other than the ones I've talked you through. So when you first land on there, this is your own individual area. So this isn't visible to anybody else in your borough. This is just for you to have a look at and to play around with. So here is your footprints area. So here you can see your footprints and a bit more of a breakdown. So you can see here transport's a really big part of this footprint. So you can see which are the biggest, and you can also break that down a bit further in here as well by clicking on any of these areas and seeing where it is. So your footprint at the moment will just be based on those questions that you answered at the start, but we've identified 30 different areas that you've got direct impact in your own lives. So to vary in different degrees to everybody based on your budget, on your lifestyle, and the location that you live in, it's going to look completely different to everybody, the makeup of your carbon footprint. And that's why we've identified these areas to really help people to find out what theirs is. So if I just choose an area of diet, which is quite an easy one to get started on. So if I say that I'm a flexitarian, the term, isn't it? And then save that, then gives me a high five, but also gives me some confetti, which I always love. But each time you enter your data, sometimes it will go up and sometimes it will go down. So obviously it's gone down now because I'm eating less meat. But also sometimes when you enter something like a flight or how many miles you're driving, if you drive quite a lot for work, etc., then it may go up as well. But each time we're just learning a bit more about our carbon footprint. So that's the different areas. We say go in once a year and fill that section in. So you shouldn't need to be in there all the time unless you make a big lifestyle change, like you change your diet or you change how you get around on a regular basis, etc. So you can go in there. You can enter, your how you heat your home, etc. Things like that. Right, so that's your footprints area, which I say go in once a year. Steps area is where will you spend most of your time because that's where you take the action to improve your carbon footprint. So here, this is one of our most popular steps. So I'll just click on this. So this is, oh, actually, I'm already taking that step, but I'll go in it anyway. So this is one of our most popular ones around taking a shorter shower. Top tip is choose your favorite song of around 3 minutes, and then you know you're having a 3-minute shower. So you go in here, you can find out more good reasons to do it. If you're trying to encourage someone else to do it, then it's great to get some of the facts and tips from here to send to people. And if you do want to share the steps with other people, if you click on here, you can just press copy and share the link with people. And then you'll have 3 options. It'll either say, yes, I'll try the step, I already do it, or it's not for me. So some of the steps you'll find, they're just not right for me in my lifestyle at the moment. You can always bring them back at another time. If you click not for me, then it'll just stop showing it to you. And then if you say, I'll try, then you'll get this handy checklist, which you can just click off every day that you have a shorter shower until you've done your 5-day challenge. And then hopefully it's become a habit then of listening to your favorite song for 3 minutes every morning. So that's your own individual area where you can understand, track and reduce your own carbon footprint. And then here, once you've clicked on that link that's been hopefully shared in the chat, you'll be able to see up here the Lancaster West account. So if you click on there, that will take you over to what you're doing as a community together. So it will really help you to feel like you're not doing this alone, which quite often is really, really motivational for people. So it'll give you an average score, how many steps have been committed to this week, this month, and in total, and then what those steps equate to in terms of saving. So saving carbon, water, land, and single-use plastic. And you can toggle that between the steps that people are trying or steps that people have completed. There, and then you can also see where you are versus the average carbon footprint for your borough, and a breakdown as well, as we saw before. And then this is everybody's favorite area, is the leaderboards. If you do like that bit of healthy competition, so it will automatically take you to where you are on the leaderboard. But I know you guys have also got teams as well, so you can click on there. Actually, when you guys first join, it will ask you to join a team. So it will look something like this. It will say, you've been asked to join a team. Just select your team from there, and then you're in there. And then if you ever want to go into your individual team, you click on your avatar up there, and it will have your company, and then your borough, and then your team that you're in as well. I think that's it. So this area here, you can see that we do share people's Giki score, the number of steps they're trying and completed, just for that bit of healthy competition. But all that other information around your carbon footprint, all that data you've entered, stays in your own individual area. Giki never sells any data, it never shares any data with anybody, so that data is very secure, and that's just in your own place, just really to help you do everything you can for the planet. I think that's my whistle stop tour. If anyone's got any questions, they want to see any more of the site, or you've got any questions on anything, then please give me a shout.
That was great. Thanks a lot, Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully everyone found that really useful. I think lots of good tips in there. And I think particularly, I think the tips that you've run through, Helen, it like shows very clearly like they're quite simple things and some of them quite small things, but they can make a massive impact. And the other thing that stood out for me in those as well is a lot of them are things that can help to save you money as well, which is something that's
Yeah.
great for all of us.
Over 50% of our steps save you money. So yeah, definitely. And it will say in there whether it saves money as well. So you can just concentrate on the ones that save money. I like the ones that save me time as well. They're my favorites. Money and time.
Yeah.
And carbon, obviously.
But all equally important. Yeah, good if you can have those additional benefits. Um, so I've got a few questions myself, but if anybody else has any questions, do you wanna pop your hand up and ask any? Or if not, I can get a few started. Okay, while people are thinking, one question that I had was, are there any steps in particular that you're trying at the moment, Helen?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh yeah, organic. And
Mhm.
that is probably one of the only steps that I can think of that it does cost you more money. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
more, like getting an air source heat pump. That's also one that does. But yeah, yes, I keep trying to buy organic. I don't think it's the season for a lot of the vegetables that I'm trying to buy organic. So I think I might have to wait a little bit. But yeah, buying in season and buying organic are two that I really need to concentrate on. I want to start growing my own veg as well. But I've not had much success so far.
Yeah, I think that's a few. So within our team, we've all got Geeky, and we have a look in our team meetings at things that we've all committed to. And I think buying organic was one that a few of us have got on there. I think with yeah, similar to you, Helen, like not the best success on that one so far, but
Yeah.
we're all trying on it.
No, and
Um,
actually, organic's such a good one, and the benefits are nutritionally as well. There's more nutrients in organic food, and the organic farms have 50% more biodiversity. The soil's so much richer. Well, that's where you're getting the nutrients. So I can see all the benefits of it, but yeah, I just need to get into the habit. I need to find somewhere that's
yeah.
got all the organic stuff I need, and then not have the comparison of price. I think just eat less
Yeah,
and eat organic.
a good point. Yeah, I think a lot of this is about getting into the habit as well, isn't it? And I think being able to grow your own veg and food is a really good one as well.
But
Yeah.
we keep getting squirrels, so we grew strawberries in the summer, but the squirrels kept stealing them. I was like, well, at least I'm feeding nature, but also I wanted some.
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice to try them myself. um, Hazel, do you wanna speak through my microphone?
Yes, and this is actually because I've been speaking to people about Geeky, sort of like promoting it on the side when I talk to various teams. And one of the questions I received was who actually sees the information they put in? Because you mentioned that Geeky will not be selling information, they will not be using that information and with third parties. But what about the administrators of our teams? That's the question I received.
Great question. So the most that an administrator can see is a person's name, their score, and how many steps they're trying and how many steps they've completed. So you can't see what the steps are, you can't see what their carbon footprint is, or how their score is made up. So it's just for that healthy competition, really, in terms of getting up the leaderboard. That's why we share that information with the admins. You can see top level as a community, as your borough, you'll be able to see what the carbon footprint is of everybody on average, but you can't see you can't see that broken down individually.
Um, and at the start, Helen, which is um, obviously there's a role for all of us individually to do what we can to reduce our own carbon footprint, but also it's going to be the role of like government and businesses as well. So is there anything on Giki or any advice that you have in terms of, I guess for for a lot of us, obviously we work for a local authority, so there is stuff that we can directly do through the work that we're all doing here. So I guess any kind of thoughts on that, and then also what we can all do as individuals to kind of like persuade businesses and central government to kind of make the differences that we need to see as well.
Yes, and we do actually. I'm always saying we've got a step for that. We do have steps about if you go into the action section and filter by that, you can see areas where you can kind of use your own voice. So write to your local MP and things like that, or go on a climate demonstration, things like that. Write to a company and tell them what you want them to be doing. Quite often is a good one. But yeah, there's lots that we can do in our own life. I used to struggle with feeling like I didn't want to be seen as someone who was telling other people what to do. So it's up to us as individuals what we do, but I want people to know all the facts. So I'm like, I feel like everyone needs to know, and then they can make their own decision about what they want to do. So I used to struggle with that, but what my friends have said to me is actually just seeing what I do motivates them to do more. So they see what I do and think, actually, she's a bit healthier from doing that, or she's saving money from doing that, and it's positive on the planet, so I can do that too. And I think sometimes we don't really give ourselves enough of respect in terms of actually just what we're doing individually is showing others that it's easy to do, or it's the right thing to do, or or it makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think also something that Geek is really helpful, well, a way that we've been using it that's really helpful. I guess one, it kind of gives you these ideas which you just wouldn't have necessarily thought of before. So there might be steps which are really simple, something we can all do, but you just never realise kind of a sort of impact that would do. And then I think the other part of it is the kind of like competitive side. Like I think it's been really good for us to like to chat about it as a group, see what other people are doing, see how the best way of like improving our scores as well. So yeah, I think that's been really good for us.
Yeah, great. And actually, if um when you're having conversations about something like someone using a lot of plastic water, or not using a refillable coffee cup or something like that, then you can quite often find a step that's relevant to it and find the facts in there to just ping to someone to say, why don't we all do this week, because X amount of coffee cups end up in landfill, or whatever the stat is. So it's useful. There's so much content in there that you can use to share with family, friends, or colleagues. Hopefully you'll find something.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Does anybody else have any questions? But if not, then yeah, hopefully that's been really useful for everybody. Um, like I said at the start, so the session's been recorded and we'll put it on our website and YouTube, and we'll send around the link to the recording and also the slides. So anyone that missed today, or if you want to watch it back or share it with anyone else, you'll be able to do that. And yeah, if you have any questions about how to use Giki, Hazel has been managing it for us here, so we'll be happy to help in terms of getting set up or like best ways of making use of it. And then Hazel's also put a feedback form in the chat that it would be really great if everyone could fill in. Helen, did you want to come back in?
I just had one more slide to show you, just to say what's coming up,
Great, yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
forgotten. Yes, so it was just to say, if you're up for a bit of a challenge, then I think we're going to do a bit of an Earth Day challenge. So we will have a live session from our founder, Jo Hand. So Giki's run by two co-founders, James and Jo Hand. Jo will be doing a live session around Earth Day, so a bit of a history around Earth Day, why it's so important. The theme is invest in our planet, so we're talking about how we can do things as an individual to invest in our planet. So that will be on the 21st of April. Everybody with an account is welcome to join, so you guys will all get the link and be able to sign up to that. There's one in the morning, one in the afternoon, so you can they're both the same session, don't join both. Just join the morning or the afternoon, and then we'll go straight into a 5-day challenge, so that will just be a bit of fun. The challenge is simply take a step for Earth Day, so but we will all contribute to you guys hitting your challenge target of taking so many steps, so it would be great to see you guys on that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we'll make sure to join. Is there are there links to the sessions yet?
Not yet,
Okay,
yet.
cool.
It will be, I think, the next couple of weeks they'll go out.
All right, great. Yeah, once those are set up, we can we'll make sure to send it around to everyone that was here today. So if anyone's keen on joining, then you'll have that as well. Yeah, a great place to end. So thanks again, Helen, and thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone has any feedback or requests for future sessions, then let us know, because we'll be looking at doing a few more of these in coming months. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.